Pleasant good morning, one and all. Pleasant good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome to this episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption Incompetence. Today, Monday, the 20th day of May 2024. Welcome, welcome, one and all. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Hope you are looking forward to a very productive week. And as I would start off by saying, when you come on, give us a thumbs up, share the live, let people know that we're on. Once again, I'm very pleased to announce that we have broken the record for Monday for persons in the schoolyard waiting for the program to commence. We had some slight issues this morning, and we scheduled a little late, around 8:20 or so. We scheduled this morning, and immediately thereafter, the students were pouring into the schoolyard. And we're going to show you when we do the roll call, you're going to see. Now, the turnout is so huge that what happened is that the first 27, I think, students that came on were removed. I don't know how it happens, but this is the platform, StreamYard. Apparently, when a certain number of persons are in the yard, they take off the first ones that come on. It happened last week. So last week when we were telling you who the first person was, actually people were there before and they were removed. Same thing happened today. Luckily today, I have a record of those persons. So when we come to the um, roll call, those names are going to be announced as being in the schoolyard from whatever time they came in this morning. So yes, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's give praise and thanks to the Almighty for allowing us to see this new day. Again, I would continue to say it is a blessing. It's a privilege that we should not take for granted to be able to get up in the morning. Some of us say prayers, some of us don't. But you're here, you get a breakfast. Even if you don't get a breakfast, the thing is that you are in the land of the living, and many persons would not have been this fortunate. So we must celebrate. We must give thanks. And to be here on this program, speaking out, to bring you credible information. Credible information. Again, I must say that I'm pleased with the comments that we receive from time to time, every day. Even this morning, I'll show you some. People say how much they have learned from listening to this program. I said people, we're not only talking about the ordinary civilian, but policemen. I have had people who are in the legal profession who have said to me that they listen and they learn so much from the program. Yeah, that is what we're here to do. We have a wealth of experience, having served for many, many years in senior positions in the Guyana Police Force, and we believe that we have a duty, we have a responsibility to pass on some of the knowledge that we gained over the years. And I say too, um, in most cases, a lot of the knowledge we gained were at the expense of taxpayers, Guyanese taxpayers, and therefore, again, I say we have an obligation to pass on the knowledge. What are we going to do with it? We're going to just keep it, we're going to just keep it and not pass it on. So we're going to do that. We're going to continue to pass on. And people have been saying to us, serving members of the force, I know they're going to investigate perhaps to find out who those persons are, ordinary civilians. And they say, because a lot of these things they don't know, we are enlightening people as the procedures and so on. So they are better informed and they can then know when their rights are being violated. So yes, here we are again on this 20th day of May 2024 to bring you the valuable and credible information. So yeah, share the live, give us a thumbs up. Right now, only get 10 thumbs up. So that is not good enough. For the hundreds of persons who we have on, only 10 thumbs up we have. And that is not good enough. And I don't want to join the teachers on the picket line. I don't want to join the teachers on strike. But perhaps I need to consider that if you are not showing your appreciation, perhaps I will withdraw my service. I'll let you take it, or we're going to take it to the High Court. We're going to take it all the way to the CCJ to determine whether you have where you don't have a responsibility to show your appreciation to myself and my colleague, Mr. Conway, who's already in the studio, ready and raring to go. I see the numbers are mounting. And you know, I say again, for the past for the past 6 programs or so, we have been breaking records all the time. This morning, again, for Monday morning, is the largest number of students in the schoolyard waiting for the program to commence. And as I said, we scheduled a little late this morning, about 8:20, and immediately after, students started pouring. And when we went live a few minutes ago on Facebook, then the numbers on Facebook start to mount. Again, I remind you that if you subscribe to the channel, and the channel by the same name, Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence, on YouTube, and you hit the notification button, you will get the notification when the program goes live. If you subscribe to the channel on Facebook, same will happen. Once the channel goes live, you are going to get the notification that the channel goes live. So we encourage you to do that. Subscribe on YouTube and hit the notification button, and like the page on Facebook, and you're gonna get when we go live. We have been posting over the past week or so some short clips. We have been posting these short clips, and just in case you don't want to see all the information or go through the whole 2 hour, and you want to do away with this part, the introduction, you want to do away with the roll call and all of that, you can look at the short clip, which goes straight into the subject matter. Well, we went live this morning. Let me do the roll call quickly. As I said, when we went live, let me get my notes, because I did make notes of those persons who were here when we scheduled the program. And as I said, they were struck off the strength. So it started out. The first person on this morning was Joan at 8:20. Then we have Patricia G from New Jersey, followed by Carton, my squad mate. He was in at 8:21. Anthony Bradshaw, the man from Peters Hall, came in at 8:21. Then we have Raul, came in same time. Sean from New York, he came in at the same time. Then we have Derek. Chati came in very early last week, but he was one of those who suffered being struck off. So Chati, you were struck off again this morning, but I was able to make a note of those who came in early. After Chati, we had the Sauls, Coatley, and Brian, followed by Brennan. Then we have the one and only BX Buxton, Goodman, followed by Francis Keith from Melanie Damashana. Then we had Mr. G, followed by Walterine, followed by Clive. Clive is from the UK. Then we have Maureen, Kenneth, Clifton from Paris, John Cummings. Then we have Glendis, Magnell, Wayne Little from the UK. Rhonda came in next, and that was 8:28. Debbie came in after Rhonda. Denise from Florida came in. And then after Denise, then we had Danny, old detective. Ivan Daniels, he came in at 8:29. And then those names that I just called are struck off the list. So if you look on your chat, you might not see them. The first post you're likely to see on the chat is Malvok 5, and we're going to put it up now. Malvok 5, he came in at 8:30. Then we have Princess Earl from Lamar Springs, Barlet Demar from the Hills in Linden, Tessa from Florida, followed by Mary. She's in Brooklyn. Malcolm came next. Felisa followed Malcolm. Bonita from West Coast Barbies came in. Earl was there. Then you have Winston. Winston from California. Henrik came next. Gavin from Maryland is in the house. After Gavin, we have Kay. Then we have Vibort, a regular. But Vibort says that he was in Guyana. He says that he was in Guyana, but he's back in I guess in New York or in the States. He said he didn't miss anything. Vibort, the fact that you can say that, I know then that you're not one on the list to be arrested on arrival in Guyana, so that's a good thing. Then we had Pamela, and after Pamela, and Pamela is a West Side girl. Then we had after Pamela is Vernon came in after Pamela. Let me put it up there. Followed by Fergus, followed by Tia Ben, 1, 2, 3. Carlisle was in next. And after Carlisle, we have Lucius. And then out of the UK, Lynette, followed by Vibort. And Vibort is saying here, its regulation number was 7464. And his sister, the Mary that we spoke about earlier, Mary Smith, is the sister of Vibert. So welcome to the Smiths. Then we have Sandra, then followed by Aubrey from Canada. Delta 9 Media is here. George is in the house. I can't recall seeing this name before. He says an ex-detective and he's watching from Brooklyn. Floyd is here too. He's also from Brooklyn. And Colin, I know, is from Queens. Cranston is in the house. And followed by Orin. Orin is a man from the UK. Then we have the original black man. He was followed by Emerson from Midtown. Then we have Ezzy, followed by Doreen out of Canada. Wallace is here next. And Wallace says he's trying to think. Whether late or always, he always watch. Can't recall seeing him making a comment before. So welcome, my brother. Then we have one Vibert from the East Bank is on there. Then we have Nigel. I gotta say, put it up and say Nigel Dianju. I hope I pronounce that right. And not, we can't say Nigel D. Because we said Nigel D, people might mistake him for that vagabond. Not that one. This is a decent person. Then we had Cecile, followed by Carl from Arizona. And he was followed by Barbara. And then UK in the house again. Winston is from UK in the house, followed by Duan. Lynette is here. Then Anthony. Monica followed Anthony. And she came in at 9:22. And then we have another squad mate of mine, 9556, Gaston. He is from Canada. Then we have Tallulah. Tallulah is in Brooklyn, followed by Louis. Louis was my old detective. Well, he was my detective officer back in the days. He served with me when I was Commander Bobby's. Excellent detective officer. Then we have Heather is in the house. After Heather, we have Corinne, followed by O'Neill, followed by, after O'Neill, we have Trevor is here. Karen, Rohan, Inferno Boss came next. Everett from Texas is in the house. And Everett again, look what Everett is saying here. Please, pleasant good morning to my brothers. I hope that there is no harm in trying to ascertain the situation of Mitchell Caesar. We're trying to find out too. Somebody said the man is MIA, missing in Miami. I don't know. I don't know. Then we have Patricia, came next. She's from Philadelphia, followed by Gordon. Gordon is from Canada. Evelina came in after Gordon. Then Rastaman came next. See the number of students. George, my countryman, he was missing a few weeks and he said he had issues with his phone. Then Melissa came. And then we have, look, let me put up this comment. One of the persons, I guess his name is Andrew Park. He said, you have learned so much about the laws and issues with this program. Thank you very much, my brother. We are here to pass on the knowledge, as I have said before. Then Evelyn came next, followed by Laurie, followed by Leon, and this is Leon Gibbons, old policeman. Michael is here, followed by Anne. Clay is in the house. Roderick. Then we have old P. Derek, my neighbor, my old-time neighbor. Caribbean Tires, they are in the house. Followed by Clarence, followed by Kevin. Queenie from Brooklyn is in the house. Carville, my next squad mate, is here. Then we have Akko Gonzalez, another squad mate, 9555. Ulrich, he's from Barbados. He's out of Barbados now. My squad mate, he lives in Barbados now. Then we have Deborah. Then we have a Michael, followed by Kurt, followed by Wendy and Charles. Then after Charles, we have Bert, followed by Ulrich. Welcome, the man from Crane Housing Scheme, West Coast Demerara. Then we have Marcus, followed by Denise. Denise, good to see you on the program. This is what you call dedication. This is what you call dedication, because you will learn a little later in more details. Denise's mother will be buried today in Guyana, but she's still on the program. Then we have Chilo coming in next. El Ben. Then the man from Schenectady, Roy, is here, followed by Setred. Setred said, you always get something. Good morning. Setred says this thing, finger around in the schoolyard. Hope you don't interfere with any one of the female students or you're going to get trouble. Then Melville was here. followed by Sean, followed by Marcia. Marcia after Sean. Then we have Junior, Terence, Robbie, my former lecturer at UG, Sharon, Gretel. Then we have Hazel. After Hazel, who we have Royston. Then we have Stefan. Say late. That better late than never. You're not late. You came exactly at 11 o'clock. Then we have the last man on YouTube before we went live was Thomas. He came in at exactly 11 o'clock. And when we went live, we had Edward. We had then Elvis. We have Laureline. And then we have Altia and Umar. We had so many more persons. And yes, Carlton, Popo, and all the others. So yeah, Lynette from Barbados is also here. So welcome. I want to also shout out a regular on this program, Addie McCrae, old policewoman from Linden, W259. Welcome, Addie. I know you watch, even if you're not here now, I know you're going to come on later. So welcome to one and all. Well, I've said again, when we do the roll call is a chance to ice break and to let you see that when we say that many students are in the schoolyard, we are not bluffing you. The numbers are there to support what we have been saying. I know I should tell you, every now and again, you get they don't come in the chat now, you know. These amphibians, they don't come in the live chat, but sometimes they comment on YouTube. For example, last week they commented on people teeth and all that. They have nothing to offer, so I don't really bother with them. But we want them to come and make meaningful and constructive criticism. Let them do that, but they don't do that. They come and they say slow ugly. I know that. I just look at the mirror, so I know that. Then they come and they say all kind of Carlton Island Welsh, all kind of nonsense. But that is not going to deter us. That is not going to deter us. So I'm going to make some quick announcements, and then I'm going to bring in Mr. Conway. The first announcement I want to make, as I indicated a little while ago, our loyal student colleague, we refer to the secretary, Denise Booker, our mother, who died at age 101 in New York, she is going to be buried today in Guyana. According to the information here, the inter-service today at funeral service today in Guyana. Right, yes, burial today in Guyana. And again, condolences to Denise and our relatives. And today too, we have the funeral service of the late Justice Desiree Bernard. That will be at the St. Joseph's Cathedral today. Tributes from 2:30, and they said the service from 3 p.m. today. So we have that. And then this morning we learned of the death of a former member. Where is the information? The death of the former member is Superintendent, retired Superintendent Clifford Graham. His regulation number, they say, was 5111. He was born on February the 27th, 1919, and he died on May 3rd at the good age of 105. So retired Superintendent Clifford Graham. And they say that this funeral will be Saturday coming. I'll give you the details, more details on Wednesday. And staying in that unfortunate line, we also learned over the weekend of the death of the Iranian president and foreign minister. They were traveling somewhere in Iran in a helicopter again, and it apparently went down in bad weather. And the president and the foreign minister who were on that helicopter, they say, I think it's confirmed this morning that they are dead. So I want to say condolences to all those persons, the relatives and friends of all the deceased persons, and pray that the good Lord will give you the strength to carry on. In terms of the nation of Iran, there's a whole nation there is going to be in mourning. But let me the fact that the president of Iran went down in an helicopter crash, listen out later on for the conspiracy theories. Listen for the conspiracy theories. I'm not one of those. And on the happier note, let me announce, we did announce the passing of Oscar Clark Carlton. We announced the passing of Oscar Clark. I haven't gotten any further details as to, somebody says St. Joseph, not St. Joseph. Well, hold on. The information I get, Desiree Bernard, St. George's, sorry. Yeah, you're right, St. George's Cathedral. My mistake. Thank you very much, Brenda. I make mistakes, and we make mistakes. And when we make these mistakes, we're not going to do like others and tell you, you were not listening. We know. I apologize for that mistake. I have the correct thing written down here, but somehow I said the wrong thing. Thank you very much. Then we have some birthdays today. The first I want to announce is the birthday of Woman Assistant Superintendent Jacqueline Blair McGregor. She used to be in the registry at Brickdam many years ago when I was the commander. Today she is celebrating her birth date. And then we also have the birthday today of a very, very good friend of mine, retired Deputy Commissioner of Police, Edward Wills, is celebrating his birthday today. I want to wish you all the best again. And then we also have ex-detective Constable Pelham Tyndall. His regulation number was 8817. He is celebrating a birthday today. Also, former member Winslow Terrell, or Terrell, I remember he used to be at the transport workshop. He too is celebrating a birthday today. So for all those who are celebrating birthdays, I want to wish you all the best on your natal day, and hope that the good Lord spare your life to see many, many, many more birthdays, and that you have all the prosperity and good health as you go on. All the best to you. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. CC, good morning, CC. I hope you had a wonderful weekend and that you're looking forward to a productive week.
Good morning. Yes, I had a wonderful weekend. Spent it nicely with my family. Um, I wish to endorse the condolences to the relatives and friends of those who passed away, and also to say, hey, happy birthday to Jacqueline. I remember I recruited her. She was a former, many people who might not know she was a former Miss Bartica Regato. And Eddie, congratulations. Keep on batting, buddy. Keep on batting.
Yeah. So we gotta wish them all the best. I know we have a lot of cricket fans here. So quickly, let me give you the sports roundup, as you would say. You would have noted that yesterday the preliminary round of the IPL was concluded. We now have the top 4 teams. Ulrich, who you backing? Who you backing, Ulrich? I know tomorrow is the eliminator, no? With United, with KKR and Sunrisers. That gonna be a ding dong match. You can't miss the KKR and Sunrisers, right? And then the other 2 teams, Kohli. Oh, what a comeback! What a comeback for Rajasthan Royals. They lost, I think, in the first 8 games. They lose 7 matches, and they are on a roll. I think they won 6 or 7 straight games now, and they managed to qualify at the number 4 team. So they are in. So all Dhoni and all of those teams that were there, they did not make it to the final 4. So let's look forward to that. The final is gonna be next Sunday. Let me see the people who are gonna get there. I know who I like, and I can share it with you. I like the winner. I like the winner. But we have some good matches. And what you might not realize is that the Cricket World Cup in the USA and Canada, and West Indies will start next week with the preliminary or the warm-up games. They start next week. And again, you might not realize that today's Monday. On Thursday, I think it is, West Indies will engage South Africa in a T20 series in Jamaica, 3 T20 matches. I guess both teams are preparing for the T20 World Cup. So those matches, I think, will start. The first one will start on Thursday, if my memory serves me correct. So we're looking forward to some good cricket going forward. Some very good cricket going forward. So that is in terms of sports. What more do I have to tell you? I really don't think I have to tell you anything more. Let's go straight into it. Let's go straight into the thing. And the first thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to bring him with CC, is, the teachers are still on strike. The teachers went back on strike. I think it was last week. They said it was before the last Thursday, but the slippers were on the ground from last Monday. And they organized a press conference for last Friday. And I decided to tune in to hear what does that mean. And like everything else, they got to understand. They started off the press conference very, very well, but then people started to post pornography, hardcore pornography on the site. They have to discontinue and they have to start back. But that is the type of sick people we have in Guyana. The teachers, the union, the Guyana Teachers Association, called a press conference. The president, Dr. Mark Light, he moderated, and you had some teachers from the various regions who were making presentations to tell us of the hardship that they are going through. And people decided that they were going to post pornography. And when I talk about pornography, I'm talking about hardcore pornography that they posted. But the teachers, the organizers overcame that, because what they had to do, I think they had to just take off all the viewers and whatever they did. But then they came back on and the presentations continue. And let me tell you something. When you listen to some of those presentations from the teachers, those in the interland, those are how they suffer, and the people give you the matrix to say, look, an average person, what they make or what the expenses are during the course of the month, and what the salary is. I don't know how they survive. Honest to God, I don't know how they survive. And then you have a government that calls themselves a caring government, but they spend money all over, including, we understand, sponsor Born-a-Buy and all kind of things. Millions and millions of Guyanese dollars. And they can't find money to give the teachers a livable working wage. They cannot find money to do that. So I want to congratulate the teachers for the press conference in the first instance, and the fact that you're out there and that you're resolute and that you will continue to demand that you be given a fair piece of the pie. Right? So I want to say, and again I say to you, this is the type of thing you have to do. You have to keep the public engaged and let the public know. And that presentation, the presentations that were made on Friday there were excellent presentations. Don't just come with this abstract thing, but show people the actual figures. What is rent? What is one teacher said she got children $18,000 a month for Pampers and so on. And then and they go so far to show you that they're making a demand for an increase of 20%, which for the lowest grade teacher is just about $18,000 a month. So if you talk about the percentage, and the percentage may sound big to someone, when you look at 20% of what? 20% of 100 and something $1,000, and that is what the government is refusing to negotiate and to refusing to offer the teachers. You stay with your slippers on the ground until your demands are met. That would be my advice. Don't get duped like the last time you walk off the road and then they send Saddam Hussein. I thought that they destroy in Iraq. But it's the next one. They send Saddam Hussein to come there, and he can't even make a decision. He can't make a decision. They go, I was contemptuous to the judge. And again, I say, I blame the judge, because the judge should have put him down. At least if you didn't send him to Camp Street, you should have put him to sit down until the afternoon. And tell him when you call him back at 4 o'clock or something in the afternoon, you must show reasons why you should not send him to Camp Street for contempt. That's where you got to deal with these people. You got to deal with them properly. You can't show them no kid gloves because they don't understand that type of thing. They only understand force and power. That is what they understand. Let me bring in Mr. Conway before we move on to the next issue. Mr. Conway, sir, the teachers' strike and the press conference on Friday. I don't know if you saw what took place there, but it was disgraceful on the part of those who decided to display
I,
pornography on the page.
I didn't see it, but I heard about it, and I heard about those disgraceful input that came from the outsiders. But I am with the teachers all the time, and I'm with the boots, the slippers in the ground. If that's gotta do it, let the slippers remain in the ground. The teachers, they gotta just cause, and they should have proper discussions, sit down and have discussion on threshold matters. I think in one said they even compromise. They even decided that hey, they're going to forego 2 years, and the government said no, they even think. So they gotta keep on the pressure. They gotta keep on the pressure ball.
Yes, our comment in here, Umi says, let's put it up, that that thing is traceable and that the police should really seek to obviously violating of the cybercrime law. In the midst of this press conference by the teachers union. People came in with pornography. Some people were drawing penises, and some people came in with hardcore pornography. That is what they did. That is what they did. Despicable, despicable. Well, let me move on. Thanks to that input, student. Let me go on and to remind us. Some of us, people want to know how I remember these things, but I could tell you some of these things are seared into my memory. And what I'm talking about. Today is the 20th of May, 2024. Yesterday was the 19th. Yesterday was the anniversary, the third anniversary of charges or a charge being filed against myself, Mr. Conway, several other officers. We got retired Assistant Commissioner Whitaker, Senior Superintendent, retired George Fraser, and Michael Sutton, Marceline Washington. Well, she wasn't retired then. We had serving member, Assistant Commissioner Royston Jr. We had Mark Gilbert. We had Umo. We had Marlon Kelman. All of us. But it was the 19th of May, 2021, when they went to arrest Mr. Conway and those who were in Guyana at the time. I was overseas. I was due to travel in. And they went to the airport on the 19th of May to arrest me when I arrived in Guyana. Boy smarter than them. So I did not arrive on that day, right? I did not arrive, but it was the 19th. And as I said, you can't allow these things these are anniversaries. You got to keep it in the minds of people, keep it fresh. Because these people, especially government officials, they operate on this limited shelf life. An incident comes up, and after a couple of mornings, you forget it, and they come on Thursdays and other days, and they spew a lot of crap because they believe most of us forget these things and we have moved on. I am not going to forget those incidents. Conway was in Guyana at the time on the 19th of May 2021 when he was arrested by the ransom Soku, Ramana and the ransom Soku. So, Cece, let us hear, let me remind the students what transpired on that day 3 years ago. Let me remind them.
I will always remember the day, and I always remember what took place. I remember clearly, for the mother, I had a wink that they were coming. So I set up some recordings for the time they were outside the compound, right through when they arrived and they left. And we had a special deputy superintendent. We had Romano and two others. They came, and Special Deputy Superintendent Harvey told me that Karen Barr said that they must invite me to Suku office pending allegations of conspiracy to defraud. So I asked him, tell me exactly what this conspiracy to defraud is all about. That if you're accusing somebody, you must tell them in simple language, in language that they understand, and in detail what you are investigating. He said he didn't know. Well, I'm not surprised because I know Harvey and I know him is his field is construction. Perhaps they get him at Suku so he could construct evidence. Anyway, I told him that hey, I'm not accepting any invitation. He said, well, Karen Bass said if I refuse the invitation, he's going to they must arrest me. So they proceeded to arrest me, took me to Suku headquarters, and then to Brickdam. By then, they started to round up the rest, Whitaker, Gilbert, and all the others. And when I reached Brickdam, there was an inspector. And here we tell me, he said, Mr. Conway, you want to sell by yourself or you want to share sell with the other people that we have in the lockups? I smile because I know I served 39 years in the Ghana police force and I know all the tricks of the trade. I know for sure that St. Joseph Mercy Hospital would have had a client on that day. So I stayed there, and then there was an inspector, and he behaved bad. He cussed up. He said, "Mr. Conway, you're not going in. You're not going in." And he used some nice words in the lockups. I, I think he was a relative of Ryan Crawford, and he behaved real bad, and he left and he went away. Shortly after, McBean came up from the upstairs and said, Mr. Conway and others must not be placed in the lockups. They must remain in the holding area. And we stayed there for hours and hours. I can remember calling Happy. Happy was performing the duties of the commissioner of police. Remember, Happy wasn't acting. At no time was Happy ever acting. The correspondence he received is that James would proceed on leave and Happy would perform the duties of commissioner. So he was never any acting commissioner. I called him. I said, what are the position with bail? I said, if you want us tomorrow morning, tell you when we're going to come. We serve the police force with distinction. He said, bye, I can't do nothing. This thing is political, but sure politics involved in it. And he left me at that. And I can recall late in the evening, one of my contacts called a minister of government. I won't call his name, not the Home Affairs Minister. And the minister said, I have the recordings. The minister said, look, I'm going to call Karen Bash now. I'm going to tell you to put them on self-bail so that they can go to court tomorrow morning. And within 20 minutes, two ranks from Karen Bash office came and we signed recognizance to attend court on the next day for conspiracy to defraud. And what's it the charge about? Conspiracy to defraud. Here's it. Commissioner, the confirmed Commissioner Leslie James called us at a meeting with his executive leadership team and told us that he wanted us to review the police standing order. We agree. We started to do work, and after a couple of weeks, James came and said, "You all can work free. I'm gonna pay you all a stipend. Which hour you all work, you all will pay a stipend separate." And we did, and we performed duties. We work. Lo and behold, they're saying that James had no authority to engage us, and he had no authority to approve payment for us. So they investigating. And I can remember when the file went to the DPP, it went on a Friday, recommending charges. And those persons at DPP read it, senior persons say, hey, they ain't gonna no offense. Well, we left it till the DPP turns up from leave on Monday. And the DPP went to Honorable and recommended charges for us. And not only we, the police force, the DPP also recommended charges for Leslie James. He was the number one person. We were charged. 24 persons gave evidence, or I can't even say evidence, let's say they testified. Not a scintilla of evidence was produced. The magistrate dismissed the matter at no case submission. And that person from the police force, person from the Ministry of Affairs, person from the Ministry of Finance testified. Not a scintilla of evidence to convict us. Magistrate dismissed the matter. I hear Nanalal say he's going to appeal. But we waiting on the appeal. And it's got to go all the way to the CCJ. It's going to go there, and then we will have our say in court. So I remember the matter clearly. I can't forget that. Where it is, for me, it was PPPC. It was police. It was politics. It was persecution and corruption. I repeat, police, politics, persecution, and corruption. That is what we went through. But God is alive, and we'll have our day.
Yeah, my brother. Well said. Well said. One thing, it wasn't the after the matter was dismissed by the magistrate on the 27th of December last year. The DPP served notice to say that they are going to appeal the matter. She served notice. I don't know what has happened since, but the DPP said that he was going to dismiss. Well, let me go further. As I said, we can't allow these things to go just like that. Yeah, somebody, Royston, you're right. She did that, but she can't charge the arm. Let me talk about that in a short while. But let me tell you let me read the statement of offense for you. Right? I put it up. Just read it. What we were charged for the offense. Particulars of the charge say that between the 1st of March 2019 and Tuesday the 7th of July 2020, at the Guyana Police Force Headquarters, Ivleary, Kingston, Georgetown, in the Georgetown Ministerial District in the county of Demerara, in the state of Guyana conspired together and with other persons unknown to defraud the Guyana police force of 10,056,000 Guyana currency by paying Paul Slow, Clinton Conway, Claude Whitaker, George Fraser, and Mark Gilbert the said $10,056,000 without complying with the proper procedures, purportedly to do a review of the standing orders, which had already commenced in July 2018 and concluded in March 2019 by the Strategic Planning Unit of the Guyana Police Force. That was the charge. And that all is lies. Lies. No Strategic Planning Unit commenced any review and concluded in 2019. Not a thing like that. Up to now, the standing order that is being used is the standing order of 2002, which we were working on and which we had done considerable reviews. Lots of standing orders were reviewed and new standing orders were created. But here, what part of the magistrate's ruling, that's what we said, or what Conway said, I'm going to read it here, what the magistrate ruled on the 27th of December, 2023. She said, what is shocking is that the prosecution's case did not establish what were the proper procedures that ought to be followed in the review of the Guyana Police Force standing orders. And even if those procedures were not complied with, does it amount to conspiracy to defraud? Absolutely not. The offense of conspiracy to defraud requires proof of an agreement between the defendants to defraud the Guyana Police Force. The prosecution was required to prove that the defendant had a common design and that was to rob the Guyana Police Force of $10,056,000. The prosecution had to prove that the defendant had the intention to commit an ulterior crime. Where is the conspiracy? Where is the common design? Where is the evidence that the defendant came together to commit this common design? The evidence in the prosecution's case is miserably lacking in proving the essential elements of conspiracy. There was no iota of evidence establishing conspiracy, or the very least, pointing this court to some agreement between the defendants to defraud the Guyana Police Force of $10,056,000. Accordingly, the evidence in the prosecution case begs the question, on what basis were the defendants charged for conspiracy to defraud? And the answer to the question came from the main investigator, Superintendent Romana, and that is that the defendants were paid $10,056,000 to do a complete revision of the Guyana Police Force standing order, and they failed to do so. Failure to complete something that you were contracted to do clearly does not amount to conspiracy to defraud. Even in this case, the evidence from the prosecution's witness, Mr. Delph, was that the review process was an ongoing one, and the review exercise was done by the 5 defendants and was suspended because of national elections and the aftermath that followed thereafter. There was no evidence that the defendants deliberately failed to complete the review process. The evidence for the prosecution's case does not establish the elements for the offense of conspiracy to defraud. How could reasonably minded persons conclude that failure to comply with proper procedures or failure to complete a task amongst the conspiracy to defraud? No criminal offense was established in the evidence of the prosecution's case, even the serious offense of conspiracy to defraud. In conclusion, the offense of conspiracy to defraud and misconduct in public office are serious offenses in which the prosecution had a duty and was required to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. The evidence and the matter in which the prosecution presented leaves, let me read about the evidence and the matter in which the prosecution was presented leaves much to be desired by the court. Crucial pieces of evidence in this prosecutions of the on the possession of the Special Organized Crime Unit that the prosecution was required to disclose was not disclosed, and this evidence could have operated in favor of the defendants in establishing the very arrangement that they had with the Guyana Police Force for the review of the standing order. The absence of these exhibits certainly raised judicial eyebrows. More so, the case for the prosecution was so below par that even with the presence of the vouchers and the contents of the computer system that the prosecution was trying desperately to have, disclosed after the commencement of the trial would not have advanced the case. Further, the prosecution case was below standard, and the prosecution failed on every limb in providing the elements of the offense of conspiracy to defraud and misconduct in public office. As such, this court therefore has no other obligation but to rule that the no case submission is upheld and the matters against the defendants are dismissed for insufficient evidence. That is part of the that is only part of the ruling, you know. That is only part of the ruling. And let me say this, because following the ruling, attorney at law, Dr. Dexter Todd, who was one of the defense attorneys, he was on the record, and he said that he could not understand how people with legal training would have gone through that file and recommend charge against us. Well, again, it's political. It was political. They wanted to get at me and Conway because we were members of the Police Service Commission. The others, Whitaker and all the others, collateral damage. I am the main person they wanted to get at as the chairman of the Police Service Commission, and Conway as a member. All the others is amounted to collateral damage. And let me tell you something significant about this May 19-2 that I'm sure Mr. Conway will remember. The same 19th, listen to this carefully, people. I always maintain that the only conspiracy in this matter was a conspiracy between government officials and the DPP's chambers to institute charge against us. Why do I say that? Conway, as he indicated earlier, he and the others were arrested on the 19th of May 2021. They were in custody that afternoon. The charges were filed, on the 19th, the afternoon of the 19th of May. The very 19th of May 2021, Prime Minister Mark Phillips wrote a letter to me and Conway for us to show cause why he should not advise the president to have us removed from the Police Service Commission because of the charge that were filed on the 19th. Conway and those people who were in Guyana had not even appeared before the magistrate yet to plea because they did so on the 20th. So again, I say, how would the Prime Minister know to write a letter on the 19th, the same day that persons are arrested, and even before they went to court, to say that he is going to advise, he wants us to show cause why he should not advise the president to have us removed from the Police Service Commission because of that matter. Conspiracy. They conspired to get rid of me and Conway off of the commission. And we mentioned why in previous broadcasts. And quickly, because you had a matter where they wanted certain people promoted, people with pending disciplinary matters, including Brutus, Karimbash, and also they had pending disciplinary matters. And I told the president, no, that is not going to happen. And so therefore, they decided if we don't promote them, they're going to get rid of it. They are going to move to get rid of us. Remember on the Christmas Eve day, the 24th of December 2020, Robeson Ben, the Minister of Home Affairs, communicated to the man who performing the functions of Commissioner Nigel Appy that he wanted several persons charged criminally. And many of those persons were persons who were shortlisted for promotion. It was a clear conspiracy anybody can see. The conspiracy wasn't to defraud the government of $10,056,000. The conspiracy was to get rid of Slow and Conway from the Police Service Commission. And that matter too went to court. And what happened? It's thrown out. Chief Justice ruled on that matter on the 28th of June 2021. Thrown out. So that's what the conspiracy was. So again, I say, I can continue on these anniversaries and so on to remind people of these incidents. Remind people of these incidents. And as I said, Mr. Todd said he cannot understand how people were trained, legal people would have gone through that file. There was not a scintilla of evidence, according to the magistrate, not an iota of evidence in the file. But the DPP said charge. And Mr. Conway is correct because that was my information too. Because when the file went to the DPP's chamber, she was on leave. And we could check out. These things are easily verifiable. When the file went to the DPP's chamber in May of 2021, she was on leave. And the officers there who looked at the file concluded that there was no evidence to recommend any charge. However, acting up, I don't know, they were very cautious and they said, well, look, the DPP is turning out on Monday, so let's leave it to her to make the decision. And when the DPP turned out on Monday, the same file where the other officers did not see any evidence to charge, she said, charge. She said that we should be charged, and we were charged. And in a sense, we said we didn't want Nandalal and Irfan Ali and all that. We went to court, went to trial. They called 20-something witnesses, 20-something witnesses. And the main witness, Ramana, when he was cross-examined over this conspiracy, I remember Dr. Todd asking him, you say there was a conspiracy. Do you have any email? Do you have any voice message? Do you have any text message where these people conspire? No, he ended all that. But in the absence of all of that vital and key elements for a conspiracy, the DPP decided their charge. And somebody said it there. And in the face, just switch that around. In the Dharmlal matter, when the 16-year-old indigenous girl accused him of raping her, buggering her, and grooming her, in the face of all that evidence, right, compelling evidence, and having regards to the law that deals with sexual offenses, the DPP said, no charge because the 16-year-old girl said that it was in our best interest not to have the matter continue. After spending about 2 weeks in torturous conditions, locked away from our parents, the public, and lawyer, and all of that, that DPP, that same DPP, we have more to talk about it. We'll bring Mr. Conway, we're going to close off this, and then we're going to move on. The anniversary. Yes, is there anything more you want to say about this third anniversary of this conspiracy to get rid of you and I from the Police Service Commission?
As I said, I will always remember it, and I remember it's police, it's politics, it's persecution and corruption, PPPC. Let me close there.
Right, I think so. We brought you folks up to date. Evelyn said cruel people on that matter. On that matter. Now, there's another anniversary you might have not remember. Tomorrow, the 21st of May, 2024, tomorrow, will be the first anniversary of the Mahdia fire, in which 20 children were killed. Tomorrow is the anniversary. It was Sunday, the 21st of May, 2023, when that horrendous incident took place. And by now we know what happened thereafter. They give the parents, they said they're compensating them $5 million for those who get killed. $5 million for life of a teenager killed in the care of the government. And then they add this whitewash commission of inquiry, where one of the lawyers who represented the relatives of the deceased person during the negotiation, if you can call it that, to pay them this $5 million compensation. He was a lawyer on the Commission of Inquiry. He was a lawyer for the Commission of Inquiry. You understand what I'm saying here, people? You understand what I'm saying here? And then in the Commission of Inquiry, retired Major General Joe Singh was the person who presided. And they blame, imagine the Minister of Education who had commissioned a report into the condition of this thing and received the report, did nothing, absolutely nothing, apart from she said she tabled it in cabinet. And who they blame? The same secretary. They blame the fire chief. They said the fire chief, having gotten the report, he should have ensured that they had fire extinguishers, and he should have ensured a big whitewash cover up. Big whitewash and cover up. Who me? They don't know his conflict of interest. They don't know his conflict of interest. So let's wait, and we would remind you that one of the students in that dormitory, who is alleged to have started the fire that killed the 20 students, she is charged on 20 counts, I think, for murder. 20 counts. Right not only that, Joe Singh made a statement to say that even if they had firefighting equipment and other stuff there, the results would have been the same. Joe Singh said so. I don't come here and talk blunt. It's record. I have it written down somewhere. He's reporting in the media to have said that even if he was questioned and said, even if they had firefighting stuff and so on, the results would have been the same. 20 children would have died. That is what you have. So tomorrow is the anniversary. Now that I talk about it, the government and also they don't want to remind you of this type of thing and the performance in a matter like this. Among things that they did was even a couple of days after they had a event at the Humana Yana, the Benab, by Pegasus, and one of the students who survived the ordeal was dragged before the media at this function. You could see the girl traumatized there. They had them parading, and they tell you that they care. They tell you that they care. Fire occurred on the 21st of May. I have the picture. Next morning, Mark Phillips, the Prime Minister, Priya Manichan, they're in the debris at the crime scene. They call it a crime because they say it was arson. And they're walking all over this crime scene. Mark Phillips, the Prime Minister, Priya Manichan, the Minister of Education, excuse me, and others were trampling all over the crime scene. And you had the Green Arm commander there of Regional Division 8, not even a card, nothing demanding know what to do. They allowed all of those people to trample in the scene. Shortly after, they were taking the debris from the fire and filling holes along the street with it. And people had to make comment, they show bones and so on of those deceased persons would have been in that debris. They were filling holes in Mahdia with that. You think they care? You think they care? The fire, the water bowser that was assigned to Mahdia was sent to Letem to clean the street in preparation of some activity, rodeo or something they are there. You think they care? You think they care? And then they come and they talk a lot of nonsense. They don't want to be reminded of these things. I will remind you. And I know they listen. I know that they listen. So they are going to be reminded. They are going to remind you. I hope some people clap some letter tomorrow to talk about this anniversary and all that took place in this 1 year time. Mr. Conway, let me bring you back in. Anything on the Mahdia fire, my brother? The anniversary of that?
Yeah, and we had this wishy-washy recommendations inquiry. What came out of that? Nothing at all. And then why or two is that the $5 million what I give them is that they had no $5,000, plenty $1,000 and plenty $500, so let their money look enough, And there's the whole story. But what's $5 million for the loss of a life, the loss of your daughter? The whole thing is a fraud. The whole thing is a joke, and we gotta keep reminding them. We gotta keep reminding them of what took place and what happened to the trial. I don't know if anybody testified so far. 1 year passed after the charge, and it's still there pending.
Yes, Umi, they were filling holes. That is confirmed. The potholes in the street, they were using the debris from the fire scene in which 20 persons were killed to fill the potholes in the street. And removal of debris is not something unusual or strange. Remember in the aftermath of the Brigdam fire, that disastrous fire that destroyed almost the entire compound took place on a Saturday. On a Saturday, the very next morning, they had bulldozers and other heavy machinery removing the debris from the fire scene within 24 hours. So the fire occurred, I think it was October the 2nd, and the morning of October the 3rd, they had heavy duty machinery removing, and then the president made a statement. They talk about intellectual authors and that they were going to seek assistance to investigate the fire. And I said, what nonsense they're talking about? You're going to seek assistance to investigate the fire when you're removing the debris the next morning after the fire? What nonsense you're talking? And I was very vocal. I wrote a letter all in the media about it. And again, they end up charging a man named Green, who they claim took a sponge, a lighter, and a wire and started the fire. And up to now, I wonder what happened to that matter as well. Mr. Kwane was asking what happened to the murder charge in the Mahdia fire. I'm going to ask what happened to the arson charge in this man who is alleged to have set fire and burnt the entire, well, not the entire, most of the Brigdam police station to the ground. CC, you hear anything more about that matter?
No, and I always remember a piece of sponge, a piece of wire, and a lighter, and whole breakdown gone. Man charge, and nothing more about it. Nothing more about it. Complete joke, Paul.
All right, so let me move on now. For 2 weeks now, we were promising you that we're gonna deal more in depth with the carnage on the roads in Ghana. I mean, there's something that is to be addressed. That is something that has to be addressed. They don't want to address it in a proper manner. They do a lot of piecemeal stuff. Somebody sent a piece of information to me yesterday, and I did my research to recognize that they have done another piecemeal. And I referred to now they amended the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act further. And if you check the official gazette of Wednesday, the 15th of May, 2024, this last week Wednesday, you will see them made some other tinkering, as I want to call it. And the first thing that struck me, let me show you all this thing, I got to show you all the evidence. I'm a trained police officer. So when I speak, I want to make sure you have the evidence. Now, let me show you. Well, look, this is the amendment I referred to you. I'm going to put it up. This is the amendment. Signed by, well, this is the explanatory note. Signed by the Honorable Brindley Horatio Robeson Ben, MP, Minister of Overfairs. You see the part that I underlined in blue? That the minister says that the bill seeks to amend the Motor Vehicle Road Traffic Act, Chapter 5201. Now, folks, I couldn't believe that they think the Motor Vehicle Road Traffic Act is not Chapter 5201, it's 5102. But I'm telling you that these people are so incompetent, they are so careless that they write all sorts of things. This is in the official gazette of Wednesday, the 15th of May. That's last week Wednesday. The minister, in the explanatory note to Parliament, or wherever it went, says the bill seeks to amend the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act, Chapter 5201. The amendment seeks to implement a road safety technology known as the Road Intelligence Camera Enforcement System, which offers 24-hour surveillance to drivers who are detected speeding or persons failing to wear seatbelt. Clause 2 of the bill seeks to amend Section 2 of the Principal Act by inserting definitions such as the term NDMA and the Road Intelligence Camera System. Well, the NDMA is the National Data Management Agency, and then they go on to Clause 3, seek to amend the Act by inserting a new part, which is 6B, to provide for road intelligence camera system, blah, 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 and he went on. Now, there are certain things, I've got to read it some more, but there are certain things in this bill that I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know. I highlighted a few. Let me tell you, one of them, I think 4.5 or 4.1a, it says that what they're going to do, let me read the whole thing, not returning any law. The process is set out in Section 8.1 of the Summary Jurisdiction Process Act, where a member of the force assigned under Section 45G4 finds a camera has captured a photographic image or video recording of a motor vehicle driven by a person, which discloses that the offense to which the section applies has been committed by the person. The member of the force shall, listen carefully, folks, the member of the force shall send a short message service, that's an SMS, message to the mobile telephone number of the registered owner of the vehicle, informing the owner of the commission of the offense and of an electronic notice to be served on him by email. Then they said serve, then they said B, serve on the registered owner by email the electronic notice charging the owner with the commission of the offense, notifying that owner that a complaint has been made against him in respect of the said offense at the magistrate court, requiring that owner to appear at the magistrate court specified in the notice on a day and time at the hour stated in the notice to answer the said complaint. Then it says that the registered owner shall, to the purpose of these proceedings, be taken to the registered owner shall, for the purpose of any proceedings to be taken in a court in respect of an offense to which this section applies, be deemed to be the person liable for the offense. It goes on to say 3, if the registered owner at the time of entering his plea at the hearing of the offense alleges that he was not the driver of the vehicle at the time when the alleged offense was committed, the court may cause a summons to be served to the person who is alleged by the registered owner to have been the driver of the person or the person in charge, making him a co-defendant in the proceedings. And the court may, after hearing the evidence and witnesses, if any, of all parties, make such order as to the payment of any fine and cost as to the court may be. Comrade, there's a lot to unpack. But I'm saying here to you, this thing here is so problematical. So basically they're saying the cameras are going to capture the image of the persons who speed, and if you're not wearing your seatbelt. Well, some people have said to me, with all these heavily tinted vehicles, they know if the camera going to be able to detect whether the persons have been wearing the seatbelt or not. I don't know. I don't know what technology they have, but that's some of the comment that persons were making. And they're putting the onus on the registered owner. Well, right away, I see problems. Because in Guyana, I tell you, I was traffic chief on 2 occasions. One of the biggest problems that you had was identifying the registered owner of a vehicle. Because sometimes the registered owner of the vehicle, as the record of GRA will show, sometimes the vehicle pass on 2-3 times down the line without any records being updated. Sell the vehicle and all kind of thing. You have many registered owner of vehicles, and this is the part that I want to show they're gonna get over this. Many registered owner no longer reside in Guyana. So even though the vehicle, I might give the vehicle to some relative or something like that, they no longer reside in Guyana. So how you sending this SMS to them? How you sending this email to them? And an interesting part of it says here too, and here this part, so I warn y'all, this is information, this is new. So even though this is published in the official gazette last Wednesday, they haven't started to inform the public about this as yet, but it is saying section 45M is saying, listen carefully, students, every person with a driver's license is required to update his information with the licensing authority and submit a contact telephone number and electronic mail address within 4 months of the commencement of this act. Let me read that back, because this is important to all of you with driver's license. It is saying that every person with a driver's license is required to update his information with the licensing authority and submit a contact telephone number and electronic mail address within 4 months of the commencement of this act. That is what it's saying. So I know, well, it was published last Wednesday. So let's assume that the commencement is when it was published. It means that you have to update your contact with the licensing authority, give him your updated telephone number, and then you're going to give him your email address. But then say what happens when you change phone and change number, which happens all the time. People change phone, then say what happened. And here, the next problem that you have here, the licensing authority to whom they refer, according to the laws of Guyana, chapter 5102, not 5201 as the minister said, 5102. The licensing authority is the Minister of Home Affairs, the same Robson who signed this explanatory note. He is the licensing authority according to the laws of Guyana. So they're saying this here, you must submit this information to the licensing authority. But the licensing authority in Guyana is not the one who keeps the database. The database with all this information is at the Inland Revenue Department. So I know how this thing will work. But they are saying in this official gazette that you must update your record by submitting a telephone number and an email address to the licensing authority. And to the best of my knowledge, the database does not reside with the licensing authority, Ministry of Affairs. It is at GRA. So again, I really don't know what is going on. I really don't know. But if you write these things, this piecemeal, haphazard thing, they write. piecemeal a passer thing the right. Let me tell you one thing more. Let me tell you something else before I go on. And then put a roll. See, bear with me. You come just now for a piece of your button. Bear with me. Now, so in light of all of this, I saw something published yesterday where the traffic chief, Senior Superintendent Mahdia Singh, and you could check, it says within 5 months, 237 drivers fined for drunk driving. That's what the traffic chief is reported to have said. And they say 237 drunk drivers have been fined approximately 80 million so far this year. Traffic Chief Superintendent of Police Mahdia Singh disclosed on Wednesday. The traffic chief was at the time speaking during an information session on Radio Ivleri. And then the quote here is saying, for this year so far, I will want to tell the public that as a result of alcohol consumption, which is above the legally prescribed limit, more than 18 million has been contributed to the government financial system by the drunk drivers. All them politicians that you get in the police force. He can't satisfy him saying that they were fined, but the $18 million has been contributed to the government financial system by the drunk drivers, Singh said. And then he goes on here, he said he further disclosed that 237 drivers were successfully prosecuted out of a total of 510 drivers. Singh highlighted that the fines for driving, sorry, let me read that back. Singh highlighted that the fines for drinking under the, and that's what they say, I'm sure he didn't say that. I'm sure that is misquoted here. And this is Kaicho News. They say that Singh highlighted that the fines for drinking under the influence, I think they mean driving under the influence, DUI, ranges from $30,000 to $200,000. That is what they say. Now, imagine this man who is the traffic chief. You had prosecute 510 drivers. That is what he's saying. And he said that of this number, 237 drivers were successfully prosecuted. Now, what do you mean by that, traffic chief? Successfully prosecuted? It means that you charged them, took them to court, they plead guilty, or they plead not guilty, and you successfully prosecuted them and bring in a guilty verdict, or you just issue a ticket, and this 237 drivers we'll be talking about are persons who went and paid the ticket. And let me tell you for the traffic chief, the 237 you're talking about represents 46.47, but let me say 46.5% of the total number of persons that you said charged. And you want to celebrate, in light of all that is going on the road, you have a 46.5% conviction rate, you said. Successful prosecution. And that is something to celebrate. Oh my Lord, how low the standards have dropped. You have prosecuted, as you said, you successfully prosecuted 237 out of 510, which represent 46.4 something percent, call it 46.5. And that is something to celebrate. Less than half the people were successfully prosecuted, and you are celebrating that. But more than that, he goes on to say, Singh highlighted that the fines for drinking, or let me say driving under the influence of alcohol, ranges from $30,000 to $200,000. No, Mr. Traffic Chief, no, you're there in the seat. You got to get the information right. Let me refer you, Traffic Chief Mahdia Singh, Senior Superintendent, to the official gazette of 15th of November 2022. And there was another amendment to the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act. And I'll read a part for your information, Mr. Traffic Chief. Under Section 5 of this amendment, the amended act, again, pull it up, official gazette. I pulled it up yesterday. Dated the 15th of November 2022. It says the penalty for the offense of driving a motor vehicle while under the influence of drinks or drug under Section 39(1) of the Principal Act has been increased to not less than $200,000 or imprisonment for 12 months for the first offense. For a second and subsequent conviction, the fine has been increased to not less than $300,000 and imprisonment. Under Section 6 of the amended Act, The penalty for the offense of driving or attempted to drive or being in charge of a vehicle while breath or alcohol level exceed the prescribed limit has been increased to $200,000. So you have the traffic chief, the man in charge of traffic, a position I held for a number of years, telling us that the fines for driving or under the influence of alcohol ranges from $30,000 to $200,000. But again, I say, according to amended law 2022, it says that let me read about it has raised to no less than $200,000 or imprisonment for 12 months for a forced offender. So what is it you are talking about, Mr. Traffic Chief? What really you're talking about? And that's part of the problem. That is part of the problem because you have people in these positions who don't know the A's from the R's. I mean, I'm going to be very, very blunt. They don't know the A's from the R's. Let me bring you, Mr. Khan. We have more to talk about this traffic issue because it's an issue that should be highlighted and kept on the front burner of every person in Guyana. Because you have, I'm going to tell you about these accidents that you have. Accident deaths. Last week, Monday, 6 killed in one accident on the Linden-Suzaik Highway. It was 5 at first, and one person died later. Over the weekend, some man at Eccles Public Road on a what they call electric bike. Some speeding teenager drove and killed him, and all of these things. They don't tell you these things any longer. They don't want you to get the information, but we are going to bring the information to you. So, Mr. Conway, let me hear we got to say this traffic thing at this time, and then we're gonna come back to you.
You know, I read Mr. Ben's proposal, and as you rightly pointed out, quoting the wrong chapter. I always remember Larry Lewis, who used to tell us, you are responsible for everything above your signature. And how could you get a Minister of Home Affairs in an official gazette giving you wrong information, quoting wrong act? Nobody don't check. They don't know checks and balances. People are not meticulous anymore. Or perhaps he pattern off of the Attorney General. Because when the Attorney General was talking about teachers' strike, he quoted the wrong section of the Constitution. So perhaps monkey see, monkey do. And the traffic chief boasting 237 drivers successfully prosecuted out of 510. Does that mean that the police is efficient and effective? All that happens is a compilation of figures. That's all. Does it mean that the police are efficient and effective when the lawlessness is continuing on our roadways? Huh? And then he wants to play politics, or he want to live good in the politician books. 18 million gone into the government's coffers. 18 million gone there. And then what happened to the 237? What happened to the 510? Why they were not successfully prosecuted? How do you measure success? You don't measure success by quoting figures. Look at your mission. Look at what the traffic department is supposed to do, and ask yourself, are we achieving it? Are we achieving it? And the best way to find out is to go to your customers, go to the citizens, do citizen surveys, and you have quite a number of policemen with master's degree. And go to them and find out what's going on. Do research, and based on the research, you're able to use your human and your other resources to deal with the situation, the lawlessness that is happening on our road. I said over and over again, there must be a holistic approach towards this traffic situation. And now and again, you give me little figures. It must be a holistic approach. And even I mention regularly that it must be a 3D approach, data-driven decision. Your decision has got to be driven by data. And there's no one-shot solution to solving the traffic problem. There's no silver bullet. And then the legislation that the Home Affairs Minister will want to introduce, I still have to go over it a bit. But some of the things are not realistic. Some of the things can't happen. It's not everybody who wanna tell you who own a vehicle or who own a cell phone is gonna have an email address. Some people have phones just to receive message and to send message, full stop. And then they're not that computer literate to deal with emails and other things. So a lot more needs to be done. A lot more needs to be probably thought out. But for us, when they're debating it in Parliament, they're gonna make amendment to the amendment because it isn't passed yet in Parliament. It's just the intention, the thing. But the whole traffic situation needs to be properly dealt with. And the minister has got to act I don't know when he gets acting, but then again, what the minister doing, perhaps what the commission doing. Remember the extended quarter? Yeah, charge a man on the 31st of June last year. And I know he was interdicted. He was charged with sexual offense and they didn't interdict. I know he was interdicted because he gets secret for the extended quarter. So this whole traffic situation need a holistic approach, not piecemeal thing that they jump in and said 237 drivers prosecuted out of 510. You're wasting time. And then they detailed some figures some time ago which showed that somebody, a driver, I think, had committed over a period of time, I think 60 something breaches of the act and nothing was done. Well, the whole thing, traffic is a mess, and they're not handling as they are to. And then I heard the traffic chief saying that people calling him and giving him instructions not to prosecute people. It's your own people who put it there. Who could call you? Your own people who put it there, telling you, hey, don't charge X or don't charge Y or don't charge Z. Let me cut off here for the while.
Yeah. Well, you said that you talk about the man who was charged, the police corporal, I think he is, charged with sexual assault, rape, not sexual assault, because I told you all that in the Sexual Offences Act, there's a distinction between rape and sexual assault. A rape is a rape, a sexual assault is something different. So let me say this to you. You said that they didn't do anything. The man interdicted him, the commissioner, the acting commissioner, the extended squatter, interdicted him from the 31st of June 2023. If you forget that, a non-existent day, he interdicted him. I got a copy of the notice from the 31st day of June 2023, a non-existent day. So when Ben, the Minister of Home Affairs, published in the official gazette of the country on the 15th of May 2024, talks about the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act, Chapter 5201, a non-existent section, chapter of the Act. Is that they're consistent? They are consistent with their inconsistencies, as you would say. They're consistent with their incompetence. That is what it is. And they're going to be called out for that. That is what it is. But let me say further, let me go on to this traffic thing. As I told you, there's a lot to unpack with traffic. I mentioned it before, many programs ago. And I'm saying it again, that they have to take an holistic approach to this whole traffic situation. Tweaking the legislation. There should be tweaking the legislation and decide that you're going to amend the Motor Vehicle Road Traffic Act. You did so in 2022 to create motor manslaughter, to make the fines for driving under the influence of alcohol not less than $200,000. The traffic chief is now telling us is between 30,000 and 200,000. I don't know where we get the information from. Perhaps he's correct. And therefore, you should share that information with the public. Because again, we commented on this program where a magistrate across the river, I think it was, find a person who pleaded guilty to driving under the influence of alcohol, $50,000. And I made the comment, we made the comment in this program, something seems wrong. Because the amendment says that the fine should be not less than $200,000. So perhaps the Attorney General, the traffic chief, well, not Robson. Robson can't talk. And whenever he talk a lot of crap. So I don't want to hear it. Not the extended squatter. He too get a problem with facing up to the microphone. Maybe he faces up to the mic, but the microphone, you don't face up to. So we want, but perhaps those persons, the traffic chief and the Attorney General, perhaps tomorrow night on his program, he can tell us what is the real fine for persons who is found driving under the influence of alcohol or drug to such an extent to not to be able to be in proper control of the vehicle. Now let do DUI. Let us know, let the public know. Because Slow and Conway, quoting the Gazette from back in 2022, might be wrong. And we admit that maybe we could be wrong. But tell us why is the correct thing. Now let me tell you this. As I said, last Monday when we reached, we had this disaster, horrendous accident on the Linden-Suzaik Highway. 5 died the same day, 1 died sometime after. And since then, we have had more. I told you one over the weekend where this 80-year-old man, I think it was, riding the electric bike, and a car licky upside down, I think it was Eccles Public Road, they say, and kill him. And we have had so many others. So I have some of them listed today because the police don't give you the information. So what I'm doing now, I'm making a record, I'm keeping a record. I know there are some media houses that have started doing that because they can't believe the police figures. Police telling about the fatal accident and fatal incidents and confusing the people. So the people have decided to keep a record of these accidents. And why they're doing that? They're doing that to fool themselves because people know what's going on. We know what's going on. Look again, over the weekend, a police bus, bringing workers, I think from the airport or somewhere, crashed into a pole. The driver lost control, crashed into a pole. Several ranks injured. It was so sad to see those people lying on the road in their uniform. Some the police. I saw several from the special constabulary lying there. So the problem is you need to have a comprehensive review of the entire system. In the past 2 weeks, let me read it to you all. You believe I'm making these things up. In the past 2 weeks, you have on the 11th of May, it was reported that an unidentified man died after being hit by a police constable's car. And then not so long before that, you had one too where a policeman struck and killed somebody and drove away. You remember that? This is on the 1st of May. A CID rank arrested over hit and run accident, a death at farm, knocked down some man at farm, kill him, and he drive away. So it's not, again I say, when you look at what is going on, you have to approach this thing better than you're doing at this time. And again, I say too, you're also, are you the launch, what do they call, what if I get the picture? Let me see if I get the picture here. You're the launch where you call Respect the Road. Y'all remember that? Respect the Road, big campaign. And look what was the thing, Respect the Road. This is what they spend the taxpayers' money to do. Put up a billboard with a picture of the acting commissioner of police, the extended squatter. And I asked the question then, how was this going to make a difference? Was this going to make a positive change in the manner in which people put the road? Big thing there. This is just being narcissistic. That is what it is. Pitch up on billboard, big by the Kitty Sea wall there by the roundabout. I understand it was removed. I understand it has since been removed, but that's where you are. So these are people who don't know, who don't have a clue how to handle the situation. And let me make some more recommendations or repeat some of the recommendations that I made. And remember, in his New Year's message this year, the president made a statement. Let me read what he said. He said the carnage on our roads will be greeted with a robust road safety and traffic management plan. I intend to have a national conversation on the issue within the coming days. Out of that conversation, new laws, regulation, and technology will be implemented to stop the carnage on our roads. There is the president on New Year's morning message. And instead of all we see from the president is the Michael Jackass moves. That's all I saw. Michael Jackass moves last weekend or whenever it was. Nobody is addressing this thing properly. And let me tell you again, when you look at the world road the statistics per capita of the 183 countries, I have it somewhere there, I'm going to show you probably Wednesday. Guyana is right up at the top in terms of fatal accidents. I told you too that about 2 or 3 weeks ago, Barbados recorded its third fatal accident. Third, Barbados, sister CARICOM country, third fatal accident. We had 6 dead in one accident last week. And that is not an aberration. Frequently, multiple deaths in accident. And what are they doing? What are they doing? Twiddling their thumbs. Twiddling their thumbs. And they come and, oh, we're going to amend this. Have you not seen that these little amendments are not working? In the past couple of years, you have had so many amendments to the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act, and you still get the same vehicle accident. I said before, and let me read some of the things that I recommended. First of all, I'm recommending again that the traffic situation in Guyana has to be declared as a national public health emergency. You have to declare emergency, then put measures. This thing should be debated in Parliament. What is going on? The carnage on the road should be debated in Parliament and come up with some proper plan to deal with it. But the government believes that they alone can deal with things, and we see from the evidence that they are incapable of dealing with these issues. So that you have a complete review of the road safety system. I said that we should establish a national department of transportation, and they are going to deal with administration of the learner driver arrangement, certification of motor vehicles, and all of that. They are telling us frequently that the main contributory factor to fatal accident, they must claim 2 things: speeding and driving under the influence. Let's assume that speeding is so. What type of scientific evidence you have that speeding is in fact a main contributory factor? And even when speeding is involved, are there other issues? For example, a man driving fast. Is it as a result of driving fast with smooth tires? Is this as a result of driving fast with the defective braking system? Because we all know that you can be driving fast and not being dangerous per se. The road clear, you're driving fast. But many of the accidents we're happening now where people are losing control, crashing into lamp poles, and doing all of these things. One might want to believe that speeding alone is not the cause of these accidents. We recommended to them that when you do an investigation, it should not be an investigation of the accident itself, in other words, a collision. Go further than that. The state of the vehicle. When did the driver receive his license? What process did he go through to receive his license? Is he one of the many that receive it under the table? How old is the driver involved? You have to have all of this information, all the data, and then you might see a pattern emerging. We have had in recent times so many motorcyclists crashing into one another, crashing into pole, losing control. How did they get their license? Or are they licensed in the first instance? Are they? But they don't do that. That type of in-depth investigation and analysis is not being done. They just go, oh, speeding is a contributory factor. Driving under influence. Yeah, all of those might be so, but there might be other things involved. And if you are a decision maker, you have to get a lot of information, proper scientific information, so that you can then analyze and make suitable interventions. So talking about the certification motor vehicle, I say it again, what happens? You have licensing and certifying officers who are policemen, are gazetted to certify motor vehicles. So you turn up at one of the designated locations and they want to come, You examine the vehicle. What? Cursory examination. Put on your windscreen wiper. Put on your headlight, I-beam, headlight. Trafficator, right. Trafficator, left. Right. And that cursory type of thing, that is what is being done. And many of the persons who are licensed and certifying officers have no training, have no mechanical training. And we're saying all of that you have to look at. You have countries right in CARICOM, smaller countries. They have a different department dealing with these things. We have a situation where police conducting the learner driver test. I also referenced before learner driver, driving schools, driving instructors. You have no legislation, you have no standard for driving schools, you have no standard for driving instructors. Anybody can say they have a driving school. Anyone can say they are a driving instructor. All of these things you have to look at. I have more. You have last year there was this terrible accident at the canal number 2 where 4 teenagers died. The one who was driving, they say one of the driver was 17 years old. 17 years old. Yeah, you can legally drive at 17 in Guyana. But should you not examine all of that? Look at the story with these trucks. And I'm going to show you a picture with the trucks. And when we talk about license, this is, somebody sent this to me. Let me show you, look. Look, folks. These are trucks, right? These are classified as trucks. So what the person was telling me, that you can do your test on one of these vehicles, we call them Canter or something like that. You can do your test on one of those, and you get to drive, you get in your license, they say you're qualified to drive truck. So the other larger trucks that fetching sand and doing all of these things on the highway, according to what I am advised, you can then use your license to drive truck because this is classified as a truck. So you carry this vehicle to do your test, you get truck added to your license, and therefore you can then drive these big 18-wheelers or these things that they're, these missiles that are flying down the Linden Suzaik Highway, fly down the East Bank and East Coast Road. That is what you have. That is what you have. And before I forget, somebody reminded me too that when the traffic chief talked about the $18 million, he also said that $117 million are uncollected. So you collect 18 and you put it into the coffers of the government, as you said, but you get $117 million uncollected. What efforts are you making to collect those that money for putting the coffers? Because you're a town politician. You're talking about putting in the coffers of the government. So yeah, all the license, all of these things. In New York, you have what they call CDL, a commercial or CDL, commercial driver's license. Different standard altogether. Different standard. We don't have that. You get your driver's license, and then you get truck added, you get minibus added. So you're driving public transportation vehicles, you're driving trucks and all of these type of things. And basically, there's no system to make sure that you're properly qualified to drive those things. No system in place. And then you have things, for example, we said long ago they're talking about the demerit point system. Demerit point system. Demerit point system. And what is being done? Absolutely nothing as far as the public is aware to make sure that you have a demerit point system so that people can lose their points on the driver's license and the license be suspended. And I talk about that too. You don't even have, I'm not aware that you have a dedicated traffic court now to deal with all these many matters you're talking about. Long ago, you had traffic magistrates. I remember back in the days, in the 70s, I think it was, Sharon Eden was a magistrate at the traffic court. People were afraid to go before. Afraid. Policemen I'm talking about. Then you had the woman from Sri Lanka, Krishna Venichinta. You're afraid to go before those forces. I never had the cost to go because them days I never used to drive or ride any motorcycle. But policemen I know used to talk about it because you're very fellow police. You break the law, they will put you before the court. That don't happen now. That don't happen any longer. The last traffic magistrate I'm aware of, I might be wrong, but when I was traffic chief, they had Fitzgerald Yaw was the traffic magistrate, trying traffic case exclusively. Now I'm saying this to say that if we are saying that this traffic situation is so dire, to use Joe Brass, so chaotic, then we ought to have traffic magistrates. You are the old set of magistrates appointed recently. I am not aware that any one of them have been assigned to the traffic court to deal with traffic matters, including the traffic ticket matters that Singh said, then how many 260 something, and then deal with. But if you're serious, all of those things you are going to look into. If you are indeed serious, you're going to make sure you have all of that, right? And then we go on, we talk about education. I always get pissed when they talk about police to do education. But it's not the role of the police to do education. That is not the role of the police. You have a Ministry of Education. You have a Ministry of Public Works and all. These people should be involved in a robust education campaign. You have NCN. You have the Police Corporate Propaganda Unit. They should be given public service information repeatedly. They should be doing that. But what they do? They're dealing with politics all the time. Berating this politician and berating that politician. That is what they do all the time. So they're not interested in what is going on the road until perhaps somebody close to them meet their demise. Then you're going to hear something different. And the point I said too, you got to deal. We like to talk about truck drivers, minibus drivers, hire car drivers. But I say you got to look at all categories of road users. You have pedestrians using the road carelessly, motorcyclists, pedal cyclists. We have animals on the road. Let me show you. Let me show you this one. This is an accident happened recently. Where is it? Where is it? One moment. Look, I think this is it. Let me hope I get the right thing. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. Animals on the roadway. Animals on the roadway. Look at this next video. Look at this next video. Did something wrong there. Look, okay, let me go back and get this next video to show you. Look, here it is. These are all things that you have to look at. I talk about going down, you get sand, builder's waste, all of these things dumped on the road in dangerous position. Dangerous position. You have all of those things on vehicles driving not properly, load not properly packed. On the Linden Suzaik Highway, over the past months, so often, you get a notification. Drivers must be careful because there's stones on the road. Some vehicle may be transporting stone, not being properly covered. They're all strewn all over the Linden Suzaik Highway. So these are some of the many more suggestions that we should implement. Now, they talk about wearing of seatbelt. I don't know there's still such a law, because when you go around the place, hardly many people. They talk same thing with safety helmets. People riding past the police. Somebody sent me a video recently. Police stand up there. Two men stop at a pedestrian crossing or something. None of them get on helmet, and the police then concerned with that. They're not concerned with that. An next pet peeve of mine: people are driving and failing to keep to the left or near side of the road. They don't know how to drive lane driving in Guyana. So they sit down on the right side lane and they're forcing the person to undertake. Many times they are driving within the speed limit, but they're not keeping to the left or near side of the road as the law stipulates they should do. All those are issues And then, of course, you get a corporate propaganda unit. Before I bring in Mr. Conway, let me read this one, man. This is May 10th. Minibus driver killed in collision on Orenstein Public Road. Police are investigating a fatal accident that occurred on Thursday, the May 9th, about 5:15 hours on the Orenstein Public Road, East Bank, Essequibo, which resulted in the death of a 33-year-old Dioraj Baldio, also known as Alex. The accident involved motor lorry, they put the number, driven by Ramgobin Prahalad, he from Purika Outfall, and minibus driven by now deceased man who resides at Zilat, East Bank, Essequibo. This is what the police said. Inquiries revealed that the lorry operated by Prahalad reversed out of the stone depot situated on the northern side of the road and collided with the front of the minibus, which was proceeding west along the same road, allegedly at a fast rate of speed. As a result of the collision, Baldio and other occupants who was in the front seat were trapped in the vehicle. They were eventually freed by members of the Guyana Fire Service and taken to the Leonora Cottage Hospital, where Baldio was pronounced dead. So there's a police version that this truck back out into the minibus. Now let me show you what the CCTV show. Let me show you this, what the CCTV show. Look at it. Look at it carefully, students. You see, the video shows something totally different to what the police are reporting. Credibility issue there right away again. Credibility issue. You know why that comes about? That comes about because the police corporate communication unit or the propaganda unit, they don't understand how you give releases, especially in police-related matters. Because when the thing new, you never, in most cases, you don't get all the information. So you don't run to release certain things. They feel they are obliged to tell you now when they didn't rank the name of the doctor who pronounced him dead, the name of a police officer, gazetted rank, and all this crap they're telling you. Unnecessary stuff. Stick to the basics. As you know it at the time, stick to the basics. So you're not going to come out with a release and tell us one thing, and then when the video camera or the video footage is revealed, it contradicts what you're saying. That causes you to lose credibility. You lose credibility. These things are very, very important. They are very, very important. Let me bring Mr. Conway to comment on this traffic thing. And we are almost at 2 hours. So Mr. Conway, hold on, let me bring you in. Yes, Cece, go ahead.
Yeah, and one of the main thing I haven't heard the traffic chief mention or auto war or anything about it. One of the main thing is the 6C, the Jaguar in the room, corruption, when it will be the land driver package. They give it over to Zaro. Like Zaro is a paragon of virtue. no accountability with Zaro, no checks and balances. Maybe because Zaro established those computer centers, so it's payback time. So Zaro officials are solely responsible for the theory, the learner driver package, and nobody doing any checks and balances on Zaro. Nobody doing any integrity testing. Nobody in doing no anti-corruption operations on Zaro. And then from Zaro, you have that you pass the learner driver test, the theory, and you go now to the practical. Paul, you interestingly, you mentioned about the trucks, the Canto, the test you on the Canto, and you gotta drive the big trucks. I can't recall when last I heard or seen a analyst check that the certifying officer conducting the practical examination, and there is it, a driver driving one of them big truck. They're driving Cantos, and then they graduate almost immediately to the big trucks. And when you look at it too, very few people or very few practical tests is being done. And when you go to GRA full up with persons with competence issued by certain officers. It full up. There's a vast difference in terms of numbers from those who you see actually doing the practical and those who with a certificate of competence running to GRA countrywide with the competence that they already have. What's going on? And you pay a little money and you get your practical done without even going being the wheels of a vehicle. And if you do further tests, you discover that meant those persons who they say are driving instructors, driving school. I did a check some time ago, and over 90% of the persons who go into the driving school to learn to drive already get a driver license. Well, at least it's a good thing that they're trying to learn to drive, but they already get a driver license. And I say over and over again that they must have a proper data management. Do like what was done a couple of years ago when they established through the Citizen Security Program. We established what we call the ICIS, Integrated Crime Information System, where the information is inputted and sent to a central location, although we didn't agree with the ICIS because the information, the analysis was done by personnel at the Ministry of Affairs and Clement used to give medicinally. So I'm saying the traffic situation must have their own database and it must be real time. They have people who could set up the system there. So based on the database, you use your resources, human resources to deal with it. And then how the treating people? West Demerara last year, we call the deadliest roads in this country. West Demerara had the more fatal accident than any other police regional division. And what happened? The traffic officer in charge of West Demerara received the runner-up prize for the best cop. A man who presided over the most dangerous roads in the country and most road deaths is the runner-up best cop. Runner-up best cop. I don't know what happened in the other division. So the thing is, corruption needs to be properly looked at and have a database of saying it's not a one-shot solution, but you have to use different methods. But saying, look at how people obtain the driver license. And Paul, you mentioned, yeah, you 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 mentioned that when they get accidents, check and see. You have an opportunity now to see how this person get a driver's license. and that might lead you to the corrupt police officers or to the corrupt officials, as the case may be. And before I close off, Paul, let me go back to the man in Barbies who was charged with offense, sexual offense. According to what I understand, the extended squatter signed the document that the offense committed on the 31st of June last year, and it's coming on to a year, and I'm not certain whether or not he was interdicted. He was so this extended squatter signed the notice, but was he interdicted? Was it served on him? There's another matter for discussion.
Well, I guess that once we tell them that June and get 31 days, then they don't know what to do because the man signed the thing. I signed a copy. The man signed the thing dated the 31st day of June 2023. So I guess by now, someone would have told him, like they did, that Guyana is not 83 square miles, it's 83,000 square miles. And as they told him before that, Guyana doesn't have a population of 750,000 persons. What you say? 750. You said 750. People are telling you no, it's 750,000. So one is not be surprised. Robeson in Parliament in the official gazette talking about it 5201 or some that motor vehicle road traffic act when no such thing exists. So what you expect? Somebody is telling me, they're reminding me, I saw it, that there was an accident too over the weekend where policemen were, they say, conducting roadblock, but there was no evidence of any roadblock. Start up in some road and the motorcycles drove into them. I understand both men are hospitalized and are recovering. We hope that they both recover properly. But again, these policemen, you go out on the road, especially in the night, and you stand there. Comrades, you have a responsibility to take care of your safety. You have a responsibility. Make sure you have proper lights and reflectors and all of those things. A little wand in your hand and shaking ain't sufficient. Not sufficient. Now let me close. 2 hours already, and I'm gonna tell you some look forward to Wednesday when we meet again. God's Spare Life. We have a lot of issues to discuss. We haven't spoken about the Damlal issue today, and we deliberately decided to leave that for Wednesday because this road traffic thing, this accident, this carnage on the road need to be addressed. It needs to be addressed. All should be involved. All of us should be involved. All road users, all categories of road users, all the government institutions and agencies should come out and be involved. So, folks, we have other issues to deal with, but Wednesday is just a couple hours away. So we are going to come back on Wednesday and we're going to deal with those issues that we could not have dealt with today. And I guarantee you that between now and Wednesday, other issues are going to come up. But we're going to deal with the Ramlal issue and other issues, God's Spare Life, and we come here on Wednesday. Again, I want to compliment you on your turnout again. Monday record, you turn out in your droves, as we would say. And thank you very much for the continuous support. You see, once you attend classes, we are motivated to research and to bring you the information. I know that we would have done that again today, as we have been doing so on every day, every Monday and Wednesday when we come. That is what we have been doing. So, folks, again, I urge you to stay safe, take care of yourself and your loved ones, and if God's willing, we're going to see you again on Wednesday at 11 o'clock for another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Until then, stay well. Bye.